What about the heal summoner? I dislike that on... oh my god, what am I saying here? Yeah, I dislike the heal teleport choice. I would have liked to see a like teleport flash and just like farm out lane best you can. But honestly, the matchmaking is just a little bit one-sided. Unfortunately, we do need more people in order to try and set up proper matchmaking. We still love you too, yo.
We need to set up like a cloning bay, obviously.
It's true.
What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, so I'm actually going to turn on the giveaway here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to leave it open for 45 minutes. So that way it'll draw it about around when the game's going to start to end. RP card.
Are you going to give away the skins today as well?
Yes. Yeah, they're going to be for future games.
Robo Pony and RoboCop, a dynamic duo.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to sign up for more than one role. We prefer you don't sign up for every role, but yeah, we suggest doing 2 roles, sometimes 3 if you play a lot of games. So yes, the $10 RP giveaway is open. There is not a way to check points, Neek, assuming you have been here before. You do not need points. You get like a point per minute. So honestly, just being in the stream for more than a few minutes gives you enough points to enter every giveaway we will ever do. So you have 45 minutes to enter. It will be drawn automatically. We will then send you the code. If it does not respond to you, that means that you have entered correctly.
We had to disable the points command because you people broke the bot repeatedly checking your points.
You're leaving us for Night Blue. I kind of hate you, and I'm crying on the inside. Free RP smells good. I'm pretty sure that's just me. Yeah, you only need to use raffle once. If it does not yell at you, that means that you have successfully entered. It will only yell at you if you like just join the stream and try and enter immediately. You have to have watched the stream for a few minutes before you can enter. It's so that people don't bot our channel. Because every time we try and do a giveaway, someone will just like come viewer bot us. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like $10 of RP. I get that you want it, but that's just a douche move.
I heard a rumor that if you tell Ray Queen she's pretty, you get a higher chance of winning the raffle.
It's so true. Any tips on your Cassidon? We commented on it throughout the game a little bit. Overall, unfortunately, the game was a little bit one-sided, so there's not as much advice that we can really give you. But your play was quite well executed. I didn't have any large complaints. I didn't see the teleport used very effectively, though. So obviously that could have just been because of how the game was going. But I would have liked to see either more uses of the teleport, or if you're not going to use it, then I would have liked to see a different summoner choice. I just love how every one of my viewers is now apparently a Victor player.
Hey man, it's like the Quinn revolution that's going on.
Yeah, but I'm seeing Quinn in solo queue, and that weirds me out, because I'm just like, okay, when did this start? Why is this happening?
I started it. I am Quinn-ovating this game.
Can you not?
No, I'm sorry, it's too late.
Damn.
What has been done can never be undone. Why are you complaining? It's pretty easy to poop on Quinn.
It kind of is.
It's not like I'm like making, I don't know, Nunu or Master Yi popular, gosh.
Who is the worst mage ever, and why is it Victor? Victor is not the worst mage ever. Victor is amazing, and I hate you. Go away. I should try out Victor Top. I've played Victor Top. I don't like it particularly. It's a pretty weak pick. In mid lane, he at least can use his strengths for great justice.
That laser, though.
Oh, it's adorable. I like how Braum actually shows in, like, the champion list.
Oh shit, you can see. Oh shit, there he is.
That mustache. It's so noble.
So pumped to play Braum. Oh my god. Also, he's a support. So, like, the first 2 weeks is going to be people trying to play Braum in a non-support role.
Yep.
And then after that, he shouldn't be too popular, and it'll be amazing.
I'm excited to play him. He does not fit with my play style, and he doesn't fit with the proper support solo queue meta, but I don't care. I just really want to play him.
Dude, this is going to be Vel'Koz all over again. Oh my god, I can't wait to play this champion 2 weeks later. I hate this champion.
Okay, I love his design. I love his skills. He feels clunky as hell to play, and the amount of effort you put into playing him well is, in my mind, not worth it.
Sounds like someone's just a fickle fanny.
No, I'm just really bad at this game and should learn to play.
Alright, so picks and bans are done. On blue team, we see Jinx, Thresh, and LeBlanc all banned. No complaints there.
It's
We
Jax.
have Oh, what did I say?
You said Jinx, and I was like, wait, they picked Jinx.
Same thing. Oh my god. Goes like 2 letters apart. They have Malzahar mid, Garen top, Nocturne in the jungle, and Caitlyn and Soraka on bot lane. Then on purple team, we have Cassidy, Kha'Zix, and Leona band. I'm not sure if Leona band is worth it, to be frank. But Kha'Zix and Cassidy, yes. We have Victor mid, Nasus top, Wukong in the jungle, and Jinx, Alistar bot lane. Dang, I haven't seen an Alistar in a long time.
Yeah, I actually came across one in one of our viewer games earlier, but in terms of just normal play, Alistar really isn't a thing anymore.
Alistar actually has one of the lowest win rates as a support right now.
That's in no way surprising. He's super mana hungry, he has issues, I don't know.
Okay, here's what they need to do. His W needs to be graze, where he goes into the bush and eats a bunch of grass. And then the active is he can poop in lane, and that causes people who step in it to be slowed, and a dot.
That sounds fantastic, but no.
Okay, so just thoughts on team comp. I really like the Malzahar, but he's going to be super vulnerable to ganks from Wukong.
Especially with how he normally pushes. In my experience, Victor usually beats Swain early, and then Swain gets super annoying to try and fight come mid-game.
Bot lane on blue is like the definition of effective and safe, but not particularly exciting. Unless Soraka goes complete man mode, I suspect bot lane will be just a very slow and safe dominance over Alistar and Jinx.
Yeah, now I would like to point out there's a massive amount of AoE on purple team. They have Wukong ult, Alistar knock-up, Jinx ult, Nasus, well, everything on his kit pretty much. I mean, once he has his Iceborne Gauntlet, he's going to be ulting in the middle of people, he's going to be using his E, he's going to be queuing people, so he's going to be able to put out a decent amount of AoE as well as a lot of single target burst. And then Victor is pretty much all AoE except for his Q. So I really like how they could set up an AoE team fight, but if you look at blue team, they're probably not going to be wanting to team fight. They have Garen, who's just going to kind of be a dueling, split-pushing, annoying little bitch. They have a Nocturne and a Caitlyn, who are going to be kind of just sort of go onto one person, poke them. Like I'm expecting Caitlyn to poke someone down, Nocturne to ult, and then Caitlyn to ult them. So I don't really see them trying to aim for 5v5 team fights, but I'm not 100% sure they're going to be able to avoid them because they don't have a lot of hard disengage.
I am not sure what I think about Exhaust on Garen.
Exhaust? Oh, no, I don't like that.
No, I feel like Teleport would be better.
Ignite, because he is a lane bully.
Ignite, right. I feel like either of those choices would be better than Exhaust. I mean, I understand you want to shut down purple team in team fights, but Murder is the best CC, and Exhaust doesn't really give Garen much beyond, you know, a little bit of utility.
Yeah, they already have the Exhaust on Soraka, and that's a really good choice for when you have an angry, like, Wukong jumping into your team. It does a huge amount of damage reduction for skills now, so it's a very good option on supports. And it's also a good option on mid laners versus assassins. It's even good top lane versus certain, like, very niche picks. Oh, my client crashed. Cool.
GG. And unfortunately, I am not able to enter the game except through you, as I do not have any of the players on my friends list.
It is loading now.
Okay.
But yeah, sorry, as I was saying, I do like Exhaust as a pick, but not on Garen, when he needs to be a huge lane bully, so Ignite would be a good option. Or, I don't know if I like Teleport on Garen, because his ganks aren't that good, but I don't know, I just not a big fan of that.
Do you know what I feel like this game is? This game is, can blue team get enough early game traction to negate purple team's late game power?
Mm-hmm. And can they avoid the Wombo combo? Because that's just it, who's going to disengage?
Right. I mean, let's say, it's kind of irrelevant, the purple team's Wombo combo, if none of them get any traction, if Nasus isn't farmed, if Wukong can't get any kills, if Jinx can't get farmed, etc., right? But at the same time, blue team needs to really keep their foot on the throat of purple team and keep it there all game long. No mercy. No being like, what's the worst that can happen if I leave Nasus up top for 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be an interesting game. I hope that it's not going to be as one-sided as last game, just because that makes it really hard to offer too much constructive advice.
TXC should be back soon. The problem is his father bumped his router. I suggest you bump your father. And by that I mean murder him. Put him in a box. If anyone disrupts your league play, they are the enemy.
I will not comment on that for liability reasons.
You promised to be my alibi, bro. What is this?
You get nothing from me. Nothing.
You were like, yeah, I'll just tell the cops we were robbing a liquor store together. They'll never question that alibi.
Oh, Kyubi's asking if I like Malzahar. I've never enjoyed playing him. I think he's an interesting champion concept in terms of just like the old school no mobility, crazy wave clear dots burst. Like he has an interesting kit when executed properly, but I find him clunky to actually play as.
Also, rugged Garen, best Garen. Like, holy shit, look at how rugged he is.
Yeah, he can be rugged all over you later.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to bone Garen. Like, you would just see how Demacia the entire time. It would be super distracting.
And he keeps spinning you around. It wouldn't be fun.
I would get car sick, I think.
Okay, so hopefully TXC will be able to load in. This is just taking a little while.
Also, with a sword like that, overcompensating.
With armor like that, overcompensating.
Mm-hmm. Like a thumb.
Oh, this is taking a while. For those who are new to the stream, welcome. These are ranked workshops. Unfortunately, we are having a little bit of a delay while one of our players is reconnecting. Shouldn't be too much longer, though, as he's just like waiting for his router to get back up. Ah, and here we go. Also, we are doing our $10 RP giveaway right now. If you want to enter to win that, just enter the keyword raffle. You have to have been watching the stream for at least 10 minutes in order to be able to enter. So if it's giving you a warning right now, just wait a few minutes and then re-enter. It'll be drawn in, I believe, about 30 minutes. We also have a Arcade Hecarim and Riot Blitzcrank skin to give away. They are unused on any server, so if you are not from North America, you're not able to win the RP. I apologize for that, but that's Riot's rules. So we at least have something else to give you guys. So hopefully you will enjoy.
Gosh, I wonder who donated the Arcade Hecarim and Riot Blitz codes. They must be a really cool, nice, pretty person.
I heard the opposite.
Oh, I see. That's one of Nocturne's launch skins, I believe.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I always forget how many skins he has, because you can't buy any of them anymore.
Okay, is it time for jokes while we wait?
It's always time for jokes.
What do you call Marilyn Monroe who has learned to cast magic?
I do not know.
Merlin Monroe. Ah.
Okay. I refuse to laugh. So, next.
But get out of here. Why did the high-heeled dictator shoot the rebel in the head?
Why?
Because he was insolent. I made that joke up myself.
Oh.
It's an original.
Does it qualify as a joke?
Wow. Wow. So rude. I can't believe this.
I have to make fun of your jokes. That's what I do.
No, I'm pretty sure you can be nice. Like, I don't think there's a rule against that.
It would physically harm me. So Alistar went my normal tank build. I'm fine with that. Yeah, it's an okay start. Soraka though, I'm surprised that she's going double wards, no potions. I mean, yeah, you have a lot of sustain on her, but if there was a level 1 or 2 engage, it's going to take her a while before she can actually have an influence on the lane again.
Frankly, I suspect that this Soraka is my least favorite Soraka based off that starting item choice. I think she's going to play Mana Battery Soraka, whereas I like to play Man Mode Soraka, where you are in the enemy phase with Starfalls and Silences. And it's surprisingly effective, but
Yeah, Mana Battery Soraka is the most annoying thing of life.
Right, like Man Mode Soraka is an offensive support where you are shredding their magic resist, you're silencing them, you're assaulting them with bananas. Mana Batteries Soraka just kind of hangs out in lane, and
Okay, so whenever they do release that like Sand Dragon, they have to make one of its skins be based around salt, so then every time they claim you can just accuse them of being salty, and just like report them every game.
amazing.
I really want to... Oh, no. I don't like that. So, Victor started a point in W at level 3. You're versus a Nocturne. Nocturne isn't going to gank that early, and if he does, you kind of just walk away from him. He's not that big a threat until level 6, assuming you're positioned properly. In that sort of a matchup, I generally do not put a point in my W on Victor until level 8.
So Garen puts a lot of damage on Nasus early game, and here's where Ignite would really pay off. I believe he might have been able to secure a kill if he had Ignite. Exhaust did give him a little more wiggle room just to keep Nasus in his spin, but in the end Nasus did not die, and ultimately Garen really needs that early traction over Nasus.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to use that exhaust effectively come late game, but in lane, it's not going to be that effective.
Nasus taking a lot of damage from minions. It looks like Garen's about to dive. No, he attacks the tower instead. And ultimately, I'm glad for that. I really dislike early game dives because it seems easy peasy lemon squeezy until you are dead, unfortunately. So many dives that should have been, you know, they seem open and shut. The second, oh, nope, he's diving and gets a kill. First blood, 400 gold.
Yeah, that should have been such an easy dive for him. Now that being said, he waited a very long time to go in on that dive. So Wukong could technically catch him out. If I was Wukong, go through river immediately, you would have been able to cut him off. That being said, it's Garen. I would expect him to get away regardless.
I feel like Wukong, if he had been... I'm not sure what he was doing previously as I was watching Garen and Nasus spar. I feel like he could have seen that as an opportunity to gank and could have been up earlier.
Definitely. And that's what I was saying. It took a very long time for him to decide to go through with the gank. If he went on the first engage, there would be no time for counter gank, no time for communication, and would have been able to set that up very quickly. But waiting an extra minion wave, that's 30-40 seconds for the enemy team to respond and come up and make your plans worthless.
So on bot lane, Jinx and Caitlyn are even. But the thing is, as Jinx has such late game potential, I kind of suspect that this is a lane where Caitlyn doesn't want to go even. She wants to get a secure advantage.
It's not that Caitlyn's late game is bad necessarily. It's just that Jinx is so phenomenally strong. If she gets that reset, she's going to be able to chase down your team. She has the reliable AoE in team fights. She can just sort of stay max range and throw out rockets, throw out traps, throw out slows, and then clean up with an ult in order to just snowball incredibly strong late game. Whereas Caitlyn kind of has to continue to outplay her opponents at all stages of the game if she wants to maintain the same level of relevance.
If you look at Caitlyn's numbers, just purely her damage, she falls off late game. That being said, her range means that she is relevant all game long.
So here we see Victor completely out of mana. He has hit level 6 now, but there's no way for him to possibly land a kill here. Even if this gank goes through from Wukong, nothing's going to come from it. So I would be communicating that to Wukong, or if I was Wukong, I'd try and notice that mana bar and use it to determine what decision I make. In this case, just go back to jungle and farm.
Right, junglers really need to work on their map awareness more than any other support. You need to have an idea of every lane's mana, their health, their position, etc.
Alright, so we see Nocturne coming in. This could be a very deadly gank, even though he's not level 6 yet. All they need to do is get the... Nope. Very good disengage by Alistar. That being said, I would have liked to see a spell shield coming up from Nocturne, and then he wouldn't have been interrupted, and he would have been able to set that up a little easier.
So right now, Blue Team has a 1k gold advantage. That comes from Garen's First Blood. It comes from Garen having about 10 CS over his lane opponent. Nocturne has a bit of a CS lead.
Yeah, every lane's up about 5 CS.
So all of that together is giving about a 900 gold advantage. Mostly Garen's First Blood is contributing to that.
And the Smite War goes to Nocturne. And he immediately gets collapsed on and dies.
So big props to Purple Team, for Alistar for coming up and help, to Victor for coming and helping. That seriously is super impressive that Purple Team collapsed there, because in solo queue, most players would not have.
It was a phenomenal decision there, actually. If I was Wukong, yeah, he is backing out from this gank. He needs to go get his level 6. He keeps trying to gank, whereas he clears one quick clear of the jungle would get him level 6, and he'd have so much more gank potential.
Caitlyn picks up a kill on Jinx through Ace in the Hole. Alistar, unfortunately, too slow to intercept. I'm not saying the player is too slow, I'm saying the champion is, just to be clear.
Have very politically correct of you. So we see Jinx having her BF sword by 8 minutes. That's pretty darn good. She is still down in farm to Caitlyn, though, so I want to see Caitlyn going back and buying soon. Simply because if she doesn't, she's going to be way, way behind in items and just going to pretty much lose any advantage she has in this lane.
It doesn't matter. I can have 5,000 gold over my opponent. If I don't turn it into the right items, I have no advantage. If I buy no items, I have no advantage. If Caitlyn goes back and buys something that isn't gold efficient, you know, she's really negating her advantage.
It would be like if Caitlyn goes back now and buys, like, a bunch of daggers, fills her inventory with daggers. Okay, I can hit them a little bit faster, but is that really going to win you lane? It's not going to give you sustain, it's not going to give you burst, it's not going to give you any scaling, really. So she really needs to get out of this lane. She just overstayed. She was spending so much time trying to harassing Alistar, instead of just saying, okay, let's one-shot the wave, clear it as fast as we can, and go by. So now she is down an entire BF sword and 3 potions to her lane opponent. And that's just not a place you want to be in. That being said, I do appreciate Jinx's decision to just stay very, very passive while Alistar buys. She may be ahead in items, but in a 1v2 situation, she doesn't want to get caught out because she could get bursted still.
So right now it looks like Victor is using his laser for lane clear and not necessarily poke or harass. Do you think that's the right decision, or should he be using it to poke Malzahar?
If I was playing this lane, I would be using it for wave clear. That being said, he's not using it efficiently for wave clear. I just saw him use 2 lasers on 1 wave and still missed a CS or 2. Unfortunately, that's just going to make you out of mana. If I was him, wait until the 3 minions stop walking, auto attack them once, throw a laser directly down the middle. See, he threw it to the right here. Throw it directly down the middle, cue the siege minion once, and then walk over to Wraiths and take them. He can clear the entire wave of minions, including caster, in 2 skills rather than 3 or 4, and you don't really open yourself up to any counter damage. In the meantime, blue team has collapsed onto Dragon. I really like this decision, just because of the sustain they have, and just their positioning, their communication has really pulled them through here.
Right. Every workshop, we really told people to take Dragon. Now we're consistently seeing Dragon being a priority for teams, and it is awesome.
So definite overkill on the Nocturne ult there. It's actually a very long cooldown, almost 3 minutes. Honestly, I would have saved that. You're directly next to the target. You can just throw your Duskbringer, I believe it's called, and get the assist or catch up to them using that, rather than having to use that 3-minute cooldown.
A good trick is when you are ulted by an enemy Nocturne, ping your position on the map. That way, people in other lanes know that they're safe. Failing to do that kind of puts everyone into a panic. I mean, hell, the skill is named Paranoia.
Yeah, it's a well-designed skill. It doesn't make it fun to play against, but that's kind of the point.
God, I remember when LeBlanc came out, before she came out, somebody made up a fake kit and leaked it.
Okay.
And her fake ult was, she reversed, like, okay, so everything went black, and then you were, like, entered into an alternate reality where everyone's health bars were switched around.
Nice.
So, like, you know, the full health Jinx would have her health bar,
show empty, yeah. So I want to point out, Caitlyn still has not gone back. She's sitting in lane, and she has, let's double check here, she's sitting on 3,000 gold, and she's not purchased anything. And unfortunately, she's missed about 3 different opportunities to get a free back, and it's just getting worse and worse for her in terms of her potential to trade damage in lane.
I'm pretty sure that's like a Bloodthirster.
Yeah. Like, I know I'm guilty of doing that in solo queue, especially if I'm playing mid on someone who's not necessarily damage reliant. And I'm just like, oh, I'm farming, I'm poking them, I'm doing whatever I need to do. But it's like, yeah, if I went back and bought, though, my harass would be doing half their health instead of just, like, mildly poking them and zoning them.
So Nasus is in a real pickle right now, and that Garen is just bullying him. He has about, gosh, 20 CS over his opponent, and of course the 400 gold from First Blood. Nasus is really struggling right now. I feel like when you have a Nasus on your team, what do you think about really like babysitting that Nasus in lane and making sure he gets his stacks?
To be perfectly honest, I don't feel that's worthwhile. If I was a Nasus player, or sorry, if I'm playing with a Nasus on my team, I expect them to be able to lose lane in an efficient way. Nasus generally does not win lane. I mean, yes, if you're an incredibly good Nasus player, if you're playing phenomenally well, you'll win. But that's not generally why you pick him. If you want to, quote-unquote, win lane, you're probably going to pick something like a Renekton, where you're just going to be a dominant bully, and you're going to win most matchups. That's just not the case with Nasus. So he needs to be able to still keep up his farm, still get his Q stacks while losing lane, and he needs to be able to communicate his needs to the team. So if he needs a gank, he needs to be able to communicate that. If he doesn't want a gank and he's able to get farm, he also needs to be able to communicate that so that they focus their efforts elsewhere. And honestly, I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like that's what he's doing. He's actually trying to fight under the tower. He just missed an entire wave of farm in order to try and fight Garen under tower. And I get the idea that, yes, you want to get some damage on him, but honestly, those Q stacks would have been more important to me than a potential kill on Garen.
It feels like when you play Nasus, losing your tower can be the best thing that ever happened to you.
Oh, definitely.
So it's a little odd to see Nasus fight so fiercely to defend his tower.
Yeah, so here's that gank we mentioned. Wukong is coming up. A little bit of miscommunication there. They do burn the exhaust, so that's a nice mini advantage for them. But I would have communicated that with Nasus, made sure he's in range to follow up. He has his flash up. Assuming they were on the same page, they could have used the Wukong knockup, flash, wither, just like to chain the CC in, and then picked up that kill very efficiently. They may still be able to do that. The ghost is actually burned, but it doesn't matter because they do get the flash. In the meantime, though, again, not on the same page, not able to clean up the kill. I mean, Wukong could have cancelled his ult, E'd in, auto attack Q'd, and that still would have got him the kill. So just a little bit sloppy execution there.
In solo queue, you see junglers go, WTF, I'm ganking, why didn't you follow up? Sometimes the onus is on the jungler to be like, guys, I'm coming in. Sometimes.
I really like that dodge that Caitlyn did, but it was a little too flashy and not really needed. It was a very nice dodge, but it didn't really do anything for her.
Caitlyn uses Ace in the Hole on Alistar. I would recommend never to really use your Ace in the Hole on a tank because your auto attacks do more damage. First of all, over time, like Ace in the Hole should be used for runners, and second of all, Alistar has so many tools in his kit to stay alive that it just becomes a wasted cooldown.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so we didn't mention it, but Caitlyn did eventually get her Bloodthirster. So now Jinx is in pretty much the same boat. She's sitting on 2k gold and not going back. Honestly, you need to find opportunities to go back where you're going to lose the least amount of farm, lose the least amount of objective CS, etc. And it just seems both bot laners are having a lot of issues with that. Alright, so this top tower should be going down. Again, he needs to view that as an advantage. He wants this tower down, and then he needs to be able to efficiently freeze the lane well into his side of the map, so that he's going to be able to get these farm stacks efficiently, safely, and scale up for the late game that he's really going to rely on. In the mid lane, Victor does get a tower, not quite able to finish the kill, unfortunately. Oh,
So right
the
now,
re-engage. I
Jinx
totally
is the
disagree with that.
The Jinx is the one who needs to go back right now. She is equal in farm to Caitlyn, give or take about 5 or 7 CS. That's incredibly impressive, but right now she has no sustain. She has 1 health potion. She needs lifesteal so badly in order to deal with the constant Soraka Caitlyn harass train.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
Alright, so Wukong's trying for a gank bot, but Jinx really isn't here. Jinx does have ult, though, so if they were able to communicate that effectively, it's possible they'd be able to set that up. But it looks like they're going to just break off and collapse on mid lane instead, which I actually like as a decision.
Blue team, pinging Dragon, signifying that it's up. I really like that they're keeping timers.
Actually, in
Also,
this case, they were pinging out Wukong because he was collapsing on mid. Those were danger pings.
I see how it is. You think you're so smart. Well, yeah. LOL, JK. But in any case, blue team is only 1 kill up, and yet they have about 3k gold advantage. Where does that come from? It comes from towers, it comes from dragons, it comes from farm. And like I said earlier, this game is really, can blue team leverage their early game advantage in order to negate purple team's late game. And the 3k gold is a good start, but they're not quite there yet.
Purple team got very split up. Sorry, blue team got very split up there. They knew the dragon was up, they knew they wanted it, and then they just sort of split off completely and weren't able to make any plays for themselves. That Victor combo was a little bit sloppy. They could have CC'd things there. That being said, his combos are pretty unreliable, so it's forgivable.
Aaron swinging right into the middle of their team. Right now, they're just chasing down Soraka. Jinx has so much sustained damage, and Jinx managed to stay even in farm, even under a very tough lane. So right now, she's sort of blooming into the late game carry that she will be. In about 10 minutes, Jinx is going to be a major problem for blue team.
Very well executed stun. That's a dead Soraka.
So purple team really starting to close that advantage. Like you said earlier, their late game and their AoE damage is just mean as heck, and we're really seeing that in these skirmishes around Dragon and bot lane. I don't know if I agree with Nasus's decision to come down and help out with the fight. Nasus's job is to farm.
It's a very delayed call. I mean, they are going to get probably both kills off of it. No, they don't quite focus the right targets. I would have let Nasus could have picked up that kill, and then they could have tried to go in on this second target with Wukong. They didn't go for that decision. That's perfectly fine. It's worth keeping in mind that Dragon is still up. They're probably just going to back away, but I would be using that Nasus roam to try and set that up.
The purple team, they had a 3k gold disadvantage now. Now it's about 2k. And if there are more team fights like that, that gold gap will continue to close. So Purple team really has the late game advantage if blue team simply isn't doing enough to keep their foot on purple team's throat.
I like the decision on Victor to go for that early mana sustain when he's versus a wave clearer champion such as Malzahar. I've always been hesitant to build Athenes on Victor. I feel like I'm giving up lane by building it because his early game scaling is so strong. But when you're in a matchup like this where you're constantly going to be shoved, you're constantly going to have to use all your skills, I like the decision. And now he is swapping back towards a more standard build, finishing up his Hourglass so that he can sort of bait out some of these fights and have more influence in these extended engages.
Malzahar swinging around. It looks like he's waiting to catch out Victor in the river. Victor coming around to gank Soraka and Caitlyn. So it looks like we're about to see another skirmish now. Victor flashes, drops the stun cage, manages to catch out both Caitlyn, and it looks like he will be able to get Soraka as well. Oh, Soraka, too much healing. Always heal, never die.
Yeah, the Malzahar stun, the suppress actually saved her. He was about to use the final laser and got interrupted just for that brief second. And then Alistar, I believe it was, cancelled out the Malzahar ult, and they were able to just go from there. That was a very well executed gank from Victor. Victor's ganking potential is pretty mediocre, just because of how unreliable his combos can be and because of the time it takes for your W to really stun someone. But that was exactly how you would want to execute it, so definitely props on that.
Good silence from Soraka, stopping Wukong from initiating, but it's not enough. He manages to drop the ult. Jinx is just laying down so much damage with her Q, and they're going to get both kills, give up nothing in return, and probably swing around and take the turret.
Yeah, if I were them, I'd go immediately to Dragon.
And purple team now even in gold with blue team. Blue team has lost their advantage, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to get it back. I am kind of disappointed with the current ward presence on the map, to be frank.
Yeah, there definitely does need to be more. I mean, there's really only 2 or 3 wards on the map at this time. I'm also confused why they didn't take Dragon. They had 3 people there. Blue team was just starting to get back into position in their lanes, and they could have shredded it so very quickly with Jinx right there, with her red buff, her Bloodthirster, and just the crazy attack speed she does get from her Q.
My favorite thing is when the map is just lit up like a Christmas tree. I clap my hands like a dumb seal when that happens.
I still miss last season where I could just hard carry games through wards alone.
That was fun. It became significantly less fun when the other team had an Oracles and your team was just like, why are there no wards? And it's like, you have to kill the guy with Oracles. What are you doing?
Yeah, but having like 17 pink wards on the map was beautiful.
Fair enough. That was pretty great. You would just get gold for 5 and then wards. This season, I had someone yell at me, support isn't warding. I'm like, I have all 3 wards down. And they're like, yes, that's not enough. And I'm like,
that's
what?
The maximum you can place. Patch notes, please. Very nice cleanup there, saving Victor from the suppress. And again, Caitlyn ulting the very fat cow. Able to still pick it up, though, using a nicely placed net and pelt over Peacemaker.
Right now, purple team has a gold advantage, and Jinx, I think, is a real threat. ADCs have lost a lot of their bite from last season, but Jinx is one of those characters who is not only extremely potent in the late game, but has the tools to not rely on her team as much as other ADCs.
Very nicely executed Wukong engage and ult. But the team just is really far away. I'm wondering why Jinx is walking in so close. I think she's trying to get in range to clean up Caitlyn. And that's not what you want to do as an AD carry. Just stay as essentially max range. Wherever you can stand and consistently land damage without taking damage in return is pretty much where you want to be. And she gave up so much of her damage potential in that fight by trying to focus the low health target instead of just laying down pain.
He was just counterproductive, but she could have been hitting Garrett and really chipping away at him there. And it's so tempting to say ADCs should only focus other carries. But when your other carry is Caitlyn in the way back with a Soraka next to her, sometimes you just need to chip away at the tanks and wait for your moment to really dive in.
Yeah, you save your ult, and then when there's an opportunity, shoot it between them and clean up the back line. That would be a good option for her, but she just isn't going with that at the moment. I'm not sure if Victor is disconnected or what's going on here. So we have an ARAM dance here with an AFK Victor.
What could possibly go wrong? Oh, yep, there we go. There's the disconnect.
A nice time for him to go. A nice time for it to be completely classified as AFK, though.
Yeah, like, gosh, I remember back in the day when it would actually tell everyone when someone disconnected, and everyone would die for the AFK person trying to get the...
Yep.
It became a mini game of protect the disconnected person.
Alright, so blue team taking away the dragon now. Very nice. Obviously, it sucks having an AFK player a disconnect, but when that does happen, especially in solo queue, just take advantage of it. Take what you can. And in this case, okay, well, they can't stop us doing an objective right now, at least for the next minute or so. So take the free dragon, and then you can focus on team fights, barons, anything else that you can secure for yourself.
Jinx's W is a very underrated skill. As we just saw, it took off nearly half of Caitlyn's health with one zap across the terrain in the river. Very impressed with that. Of course, it's not quite enough. Blue team is on the aggressive right now. Garen goes in, Wukong sort of dives into the middle of their team, pops the ult, sorry?
Sorry, who are you talking about?
Did Wukong ult, or my
No.
computer kind of just froze and then like everyone was doing the ARAM dance?
No,
So it's-
Wukong still has his ult up. They're just sort of still sieging, poking away. Blue team has a much better poke potential here with the Soraka heals, the Malzahar wave clear, the Caitlyn poke. But if they ever get engaged on, they're going to have a really hard time getting out of that fight.
Nocturne sort of poking away at Wukong, but Blue team swinging around, and it's time for the ARAM dance.
Oh, it's my favorite thing ever.
Oh, I know how much you love the ARAM dance.
Oh, Wukong actually sneaking in behind, but the rest of his team is not here. If Jinx ults up mid right now, they could make something happen. Yeah, they know he's here. I don't know why they're staying.
Okay, Blue team is about a few seconds away from just total ace right now. Wukong dives into the middle, then pops ult. He's going after Caitlyn. Caitlyn manages to get out with her sneaky skills. Wukong is completely separated from the rest of his team. Ghost is trying to escape when Malzahar drops the ult on him. Alistair is just like, he comes in, tries to peel, he looks at his dead comrade and is like, nope, never mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the
unfortunately,
bottom
this
is
is
sort of,
exactly what we expected. I mean, the rest of the team's not there, and at that point, you kind of just need to wait for them.
Now, purple team's kind of running around with chickens with their head chopped off. They have lost Wukong, and they know they should defend the tower, but they're just kind of dancing around it, going back, healing. I don't know. They don't really have a game plan right now.
Blue team's sort of in the same boat, though, where they got the advantage and then just all split up. They didn't take a tower. They didn't take any objectives. They have like one or two wards down, but it's not like they're really securing too much for themselves. They are taking away the enemy jungle, which is a nice touch, but I don't know. I think they could have pushed more of that advantage.
So blue team does have the gold advantage right now, about a 4k gold advantage. Let's see if they're able to sort of translate that into tangible advantages like objectives, more kills, etc.
Nice, so Victor has his hourglass finished up now. I'm excited to see how that is executed in these fights, because a core portion of how Victor has to be played in the current meta is hourglass baits. If he's able to land his combo properly, if he's able to hourglass properly, then that can really turn some of these fights in his favor. If not, well, Victor has some issues. But yeah, overall I've been pretty impressed with how he's been playing this game. It's definitely obvious that he has been practicing. I know he's done Victor in a couple of these workshops, and it's really nice to see the improvements week over week.
If Victor gets the flu, is he sicker? No. Looks like both teams are gearing up for the ARAM dance again.
Yay, there might be a bonus Baron dance after if they're really lucky. Neither team has a super dominant split pusher that I would expect to see trying to split this out. Just a note for Jinx. a lot of the auto attacks she's using here for wave clear are not on grouped minions, so she may as well just use the Gatling gun at that point.
Malzahar sort of flirting with danger in how he's staying on the front lines right now.
I think he's trying to land a suppress, and honestly, he needs to be using that suppress as a disengage in most of these fights. Caitlyn splitting off. Hopefully blue team will be on the same page with this and not get caught out while she's not here.
Garen sort of looking for an engage, and the rest of his team sort of following him, even though Caitlyn's like, oh wait, I guess we're about to fight, turns around. There's just not a lot of communication going on in blue team right now. I feel like ARAM dances are ultimately just a sign of no communication on the team. It's like everyone just follows each other.
Mm-hmm.
No one's leading, everyone's following someone else, and they just happen to like end up in mid.
I would define it as fear. You are scared that you're going to get caught out, or your team's going to get caught out, and that you're going to get blamed. So instead, you just sort of stick with your team, you don't have a plan, you don't talk about it, because you don't want to get raged at. And honestly, that's just not something that you can allow to happen. So Caitlyn, again, sort of caught out from her team, and now Wukong's engaging. This time the ult does land.
Oh my gosh. This is very bad for blue team because, again, they do not have Caitlyn, and Caitlyn is such an integral part of their team, and she's going to go shove back bottom lane.
Now, I do want to compliment Malzahar. He did a very well-executed disengage there and was able to shut down the Wukong. In the meantime, though, the rest of Purple Team completely untouched, just able to collapse in and clean up. But yeah, honestly, you need to have a plan. If you need to stop a split push, that's perfectly fine. I'm not blaming Caitlyn. I mean, no one has been responding to this bot wave for a while, and that's something that does need to be addressed. But if you're going to do that, you need to be letting your team know. You need to be like, okay, bot lane's pushing, BRB plays safe, or however you want to word it. You can't afford to be caught out like that and not have that basic level of communication with your team.
I'm a little disappointed in the Purple Team members who decided to go back. Luckily, Nasus and Victor are shoving in a tower, turning that victorious team fight into a more tangible objective. Now it looks like Purple Team is swinging around to do a dragon.
Mm-hmm. Now there's some very good Baron wards around by blue team. I would have liked to see some in the enemy jungle, though. I mean, they have a good amount of vision there, but I want to see them getting a little bit into purple side jungle, and then trying to secure a Baron, if possible. If, let's say, Purple Team splits up, they could sneak it quite quickly.
I'm just seeing a lack of leadership in this game. Leadership, initiative, sort of thought beyond following each other around and doing the ARAM dance repeatedly. Purple Team is doing a bit better on blue team than this front, but neither team is exactly really taking a strong hand on understanding what the end game is and working towards it.
I did. I got you meat and sauce. Oh, I didn't know we needed cheese. So, Nocturne getting quite caught out here. I'm not quite sure what the plan was. Good pickup for Purple Team. Again, they should be able to turn that into an objective.
MK Kick, sorry, the workshops are for gold and under players. We are currently looking at expanding the workshops in other ways, but we need more people who are interested in it, so unfortunately we have nothing right now.
Very nice. A little bit of harass coming out here. They're just dominantly pushing this in, but in the meantime, Malzahar does get top turret. So nice little comeback for him, able to get a little bit of an advantage for himself.
Jinx, using rockets to whittle down Garen, I'm a little confused about that choice. I feel like the minigun would be superior. She does manage to save bot turret mostly, but Malzahar does take a turret top, and Purple Team is sort of laying down some aggression mid. This game is very even. We've had a lot of one-sided match system workshops. You cannot say that about this game.
No, they're doing a very good job of countering each other out. There has been a couple little throws, but I mean that happens in all elos and all sort of gameplay. I can't see team chat unfortunately, but it's nice to see no one like shit talking in alt chat. That is not something that we allow in these games, so it's nice to see everyone sort of on the same page for the most part.
I had to report a cinch the other day. He kept throwing.
Was he also toxic?
Oh, so funny. Had to report a Sona too. Refusal to communicate.
Alright, so again, no Baron dances at all. I mean, at this stage of the game, both teams should be able to do Baron in under a minute. Like, it wouldn't even take a minute for them to shred it down. It would be a very quick objective for them. So, Purple Team has some really good ward coverage at the moment. I would expect to see them initiating it. As soon as they see someone splitting off, going back to base, anything like that, they need to just say, okay, this is the objective, and just go for it.
This game is pretty frustrating to watch, and there's no real big mistakes. Like, this isn't a thing where, like, we have Caitlyn rushing Hurricane or something. This is, in fact, a very typical solo queue game. But the ARAM dancing and just the lack of objective control and, you know, all that stuff.
There's nothing wrong with being passive and playing a safe game, but it needs to have a purpose. So, for example, Purple Team, they're a late game team. If, let's say, they were really far behind right now and just absolutely needed a critical item before they could afford to fight, I would understand them being passive. I would understand them saying, okay, farm jungle, farm lanes, don't get caught, ward up, play safe. That's a totally acceptable and actually really smart call on their part. We do see a fight going down bot lane. They should be getting, well, they're definitely going to get Soraka, but Garen is definitely going to get away. Oh, actually, no. Garen might get caught out. Just enough CC going in here. The exhaust, the wither. Purple Team should be using this to end the game, to be perfectly honest. They just got 2 kills. They can take a Baron off of that completely free, and then they can turn the Baron advantage into an inhib, into towers, and hopefully even the Nexus. Oh, over time.
I miss old exhaust.
I know, it looks so ugly now.
And it's hard to see when you're in the middle of a hectic team fight, honestly.
It really is. So I really want to compliment the split push going on by Malzahar. He is getting work done. I really like that decision, and I like how he's executing it. On Purple side, though, I want to see them countering it. I want to see them communicating, saying, hey, look, there's someone in this lane. I can't duel them. So how are we going to win this? Are we collapsing? Are we pushing? Are we doing a rushed fight? How are we handling this? In the meantime, he's still up there.
You know what I want to see from both teams? I want to see generals. You know what I want to see from every workshop player? I want to see generals, because the best way to climb solo queue is to be a general, to go, Dragon's up in 1 minute, let's drop some wards. Jinx is dead, let's shove the tower. You know, sort of, you have to learn to herd cats and really aggressively get your team to do the right stuff if you want to climb solo queue. This sort of game environment where people are just following each other around, with the exception of Malzahar. Like, the balls of Malzahar are super impressive right now. I don't know how he puts his pants on in the morning. But I want to see less following, more leading in pretty much every workshop game. And this game is a particularly frustrating example of it for me, because no one's really playing badly. They're just playing passively, and passively without purpose.
Passively and indecisively. I mean, the way this Malzahar is playing right now is phenomenal. It's exactly what he needs to do in order to win. No one can fight a Malzahar. That's a simple fact. He has a couple items. If he has his full combo, he can 100-0 anyone. That's just how Malzahar functions as a champion. And they keep not communicating that to each other. They're going in one at a time. Victor's holding it. Victor dies. Okay, they leave him alone up there for another 3 waves of farm. Then Wukong goes in. Well, at that point, his ult's back up. So then you walk in, and you're going to die as well. I mean, I can understand being surprised by his damage, but letting it happen more than once is very poor decision-making, very poor communication. So they need to work on that as a team. They need to work on that as individual players. I mean, you can get all angry, oh my god, GG, someone didn't fight perfectly. It happens. I can understand getting frustrated in a solo queue environment. I can even understand getting frustrated in these environments, although you have to really watch for it, because these are a learning place for people who are making mistakes anyways. But regardless, I can understand that frustration, but you need to use your mind and use your knowledge of the game to make those mistakes not happen over and over and over again, and they're simply not doing that at this time.
I wonder if Malzahar will break our current record for farm in a workshop, which I believe is 429.
Yeah, it was mid 400s.
It was I made a note. It was 429.
Okay.
Malzahar's getting not close, but I can see him breaking it. But like sometimes during workshops, you'll hear me say, "Stop running into the meat grinder," and that's how I feel about Malzahar. They are just like running at Malzahar. Meat grinder just shreds them.
Yep.
Few minutes pass, next person runs in.
Like, he doesn't even have his death cap now. What are they going to do if they continue this style of play and he gets another large item? Like, are they just going to continue doing the same playstyle and hoping that something's going to change? That's not going to work for them.
Perhaps a needlessly large item.
Okay, so Wukong is here. He lands his ult. Jinx ults across. They do not cancel out the Malzahar ult, and so that's going to be... Alright, Victor is going to live through that, but then walks right into Caitlyn. That was odd.
Perhaps lag. He has been having connection issues. Questionable.
It was great cleanup by Blue Team, but just the way that was fought by Purple Team was very sloppy. I would have expected them to beat them very easily.
So Jinx is legendary, and yes, that's quite impressive, but I feel like part of the reason she's legendary is she skedaddles and disengages from team fights to stop herself from dying, even when it's not ideal for her team.
Yeah, she's having a lot of issues in just not being there. She's not consistently outputting damage. In that team fight, if she continued just pelting them with AoE high-range rockets, if NASA stayed and was able to interrupt some people, they would have won. There's no doubt in my mind. NASA still has his ult and flash. The fact that he was not in the middle of that team fight, soaking up damage, CCing people, outputting some decent damage, I don't know. I would have expected them to win that very easily.
I apologize if I am coming across as harsh here, because honestly, we have seen far worse plays and teams in workshops before. It's just that this one is particularly common. It's a common issue, and it's something that I would really like to see people fix. So I apologize if I am coming across as unduly harsh or negative.
Oh, for sure. Like, I'm not angry at any of these players. They're doing a very good job overall. Like, I have no complaints. It's just my general frustration with the solo queue mentality that's sort of shining through here. These are the mistakes that are made in pretty much every solo queue game you see played, and it's infuriating to see over and over and over on a daily basis. And I understand that unless someone corrects you, you're probably not going to be fixing those mistakes over time.
And
Great pickup by Blue Team.
They're pernicious mistakes because people will not articulate them in a solo queue game. They'll say, "What the fuck, Kate? Where's your Infinity Edge?" They won't say, "You know, Kate, I really think that you should be more aggressively taking towers, etc., etc." But we do see Baron go down for 44 minutes, and that is a relief.
I've been waiting for that to happen most of the game, and Blue Team did a very nice cleanup there in addition to securing the Baron itself. So they're going to get this top inhib without any real contention.
I am surprised that we are in a 45-minute game and Nasus is just there. I haven't seen him make any plays that make me, go, oh snap, you let a Nasus get to a 45-minute game. You know what I mean?
And at this stage of the game, he's only at 380 stacks. That's not that good.
Right. I feel like that's a common theme for the Nasus players of today. Please work on your stacks.
I would like to see him trying to split push out a little bit so that he can get more stacks. I mean, you're constantly being shoved in by this Malzahar split push. Not that you would necessarily be able to duel him, but you would at least be able to sort of farm up and escape.
I just want to give props to this Alistar. There have been multiple times this game that he pulls off this amazing interrupt with his headbutt, and it never really gets noticed because in the grand scheme of things and in the chaos of a team fight, it's a pretty small gesture. But he's interrupted ults, he's saved his teammates repeatedly. So big thumbs up to Alistar for excellent use of his headbutt.
And he's been quite consistent in his headbutt pulverize combo. I see people fail it quite often when they pick up Alistar, and it's usually just inexperience with the champion. He's landing them quite consistently. I'm sure he's missed a few, but overall, pretty good job. Alright, so they've opted to have Wukong sort of counter this split push. I strongly agree with that. Disagree with that. Nasus is going to scale exponentially and essentially to infinity with his Q stacks. So why are they having Wukong up there picking up farm instead of Nasus? Like, even mid lane here, he got 1 Q stack out of that entire minion wave.
Looks like Victor is about to go down to blue team's aggression. Nocturne ults, and Jinx is in the side putting down some damage, but she just flees as soon as her ally goes down. Again, Jinx has a very good score. She's legendary, that's great, but she's just sort of floating around, picking up kills, but not really getting dirty and getting elbow deep into team fights, which as an ADC strikes me as not a great policy.
She's just not really auto-attacking at all. She walked in with her minigun there. Instead of she could have pelted that entire team with about 5 rockets in that time, instead of 2 shots from her minigun and taking half of her health bar in return from Caitlyn.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
Like, this is a 45-minute game, and the fact that Nasus and Jinx aren't making me, like, sit up in my chair and cheer is a little odd.
Overall, good job in ending out that game. Fantastic comeback. Great play by Malzahar. I really appreciate how he did that. I would have liked to see just better communication. Just sort of being on the same page for what is the next play. What are we doing to sort of pull this through? So I don't know. It just worries me a little.
I feel like I'm going to have to call Malzahar's MVP there for his late-game initiative. That is such a useful skill. An honorable mention to Garen, though, for just his consistent early-game aggression. But yes, Malzahar MVP for blue team.
Agreed.
For purple team, that's a little more complicated. I think I'm going to have to go with Alistair, actually. He's kind of the unsung hero, so I'm going to take this moment to really give him some recognition for those. He never did anything that made me go, oh my gosh, that was such an amazing play. He was just quietly consistent and reliable all game long.
Yep. Do you want to go over final item builds? My voice is dying.
I'll just point out problems I have with item builds more than go over every single item. Jinx, I don't have any problems with that. Home guards are a good item, so no real complaints there. Alistair built very tanky. A Ruby Sightstone might have been good for the extra health, but other than that, no real problems or complaints. Victor, he has... Is that a Hextech Revolver for the Spell Vamp? I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
Spell Vamp, okay, the reason why Lifesteal works is because ADCs and AD Bruisers have free, consistent damage over time with their auto attacks. Spell Vamp is useless because mages are burst. Until mages have free, consistent damage, that is equivalent to an ADC's auto attack, Spell Vamp is pretty much useless. The exception is characters like Vlad, who has a free, consistent sort of damage with his Q. Nasus, no real complaints. I'm not sure what the Zeal is for. I guess a Triforce, but I feel like you have to kind of choose between Iceborne and Triforce.
Definitely.
So not a big fan of that. Wukong, no complaints. Caitlyn, no complaints there. Soraka, that seems fine. I would have traded out the Spell Thief for the Talismans for the extremely good endgame active. But otherwise good. Malzahar, no complaints. Garen, Swiftness boots, I might have traded out for tank boots just to be more of a pain in the butt. But I don't think that's a particularly bad choice. And Nocturne, no complaints. Oh, I'm actually going to lie down. I am having brain problems and I'm tired, so I'm going to have to stop for tonight.
Fair enough. Are we having issues finding more people?